Hello everyone and welcome back to our video. In today's video we are going to be taking a look at Japan 24, the final major of the 2022 year. And this event was such a fun watch because we had a lot of people in Japan that really don't get to be highlighted as much compete at this tournament at such a high level, as well as just your typical top Japanese players that everyone knows and loves. For 13th place we had Hiro, Ryu, Kept, and Asimo. I think that's how you say Ryu's name. I'm not 100% certain, but he's a very good Diddy Kong player. We had ninth place is Rizuyasu, Futari, Omatsu, and Ken. Seventh place was Masa and Masha. Fifth place was Umeki and Tsubaki. Fourth place was Kameme. Third place was Hikaru. Second place was Mia. And first place was, of course, Akala, staying dominant as always. But before we talk about the final bracket more, I want to talk about the group stages. So the ways that the pools worked is the top two players moved out in the winner's side, the third and fourth place moved out loser's side, and the fifth and sixth place unfortunately went home. And this was a graphic made by NARU on Twitter. Please go give them a follow. Their link will be in the description. Like as always when we use stuff like this, it's just like this is such a cool visual in comparison, just showing the game counts. I really like the way they've done it. So please go give them a follow. They also just do like very helpful translations on Twitter and just seem like a lovely person. So yeah, give them a follow. Huge ups to them for this. But we had Aquila and Umeki moving out winner's side, Ken and Ryu moving out in losers, and Kome and Ball going home. The biggest upsets here are probably going to be, honestly, Kome and Umeki over Ken is a pretty big deal considering Ken's record on both of them. But then Ryu over Kome is a pretty big win as well, allowing him to get out on the loser's side because I think a lot of people did expect Kome to get out. Ryu is someone who had a lot of potential in this group, and I think Diddy does very well against swords in general, but like one of the only sword characters that Diddy can kind of struggle with is Shulk, so huge shout out to Ryu for that. He played very, very well this tournament. I was very impressed with him. Same thing with Ball. Even though he didn't win a set, all of his matchups looked extremely competitive. Even versus Ken, like it just felt like, damn, you're playing K. Rool against Sonic. That is tough. But it looks like he was giving a fight, and that's all I could care about. His set versus Kome and Umeki were incredible. He took a game off Aquila with K. Rool, which is something that cannot be understated. Like Ball is a very, very impressive player. I hope to get to see more of him because he is just super fun to watch as well. Like I think Ball gained a lot of fans this tournament, and honestly, they are all earned. And then Ryu, again, super impressed with his run. He did very well. Ken getting out as the third seed, I think, might have surprised a lot of people. Just like because he had very dominant records on both Umeki and Kome, but they just figured him out this weekend. I don't know what was on it. I mean, I know what Umeki was on because he's just been like playing incredibly recently. Like he has a second, I believe he got second at Tsubaki, if I remember correctly, and then he did pretty well at a winner as well. Like Umeki has been on an absolute tear recently. I hope we can see him in NA again because I know he was here a couple times pre-quarantine, but I don't think he has been post yet. So that'd be super hyped to see him. Umeki's just such a fantastic player. He got out second, and then Aquila, of course, staying ever dominant. Kome, I feel like Kome is one of those players who has like off tournaments and on tournaments, and this unfortunately was one of the off ones. But he's still got a win on Kent, which is like super, super good. Like that's a pretty decent PGR ranking. So I think a lot of people will probably not count this tournament for this PGR. It'll probably be towards the next one. But still, it's always nice to beat your demon as well. That's a huge roadblock. And even though he does go out in the day one, I think he should still be pretty happy with this tournament. Same thing with Ball. Now moving on to Pool P, we had Shisho, Sumo Suto, who both play Doc, and Futari, who plays Icy. So you know this pool is crazy. We also had Mia getting out in second, which is insane. Kameme out in first, so they both start winners. Futari and Asimo in fourth and third. And then Shisho and Sumo Suto, unfortunately, both going home. The only one taking a set there is Sumo Suto within the Doc Ditto, which was incredibly hype, by the way. Like, that was a 6-6 set. But, like, at the end of the day, putting both docs in the same group is just kind of rough because, like, if you beat one doc, you can probably beat the rest of the docs, at least at that top level, because it's like Doc doesn't have a ton of stuff he can do. And don't get me wrong, he has some crazy strong options, but once you figured out how to just avoid that one thing, he's kind of screwed. He's just slow, and I think that is a weakness that both the Doc players unfortunately fell to. But the Ditto was still incredible, so honestly, I'm happy they were in the same group. Asimo getting both wins on Futari and Sumo Suto and Shisho. Shoto's, I feel like Shoto's would be like one of those characters that might struggle against Ices because focus basically just doesn't exist. But maybe I'm wrong there. Like, I mean, clearly Asimo figured it out. So huge shout out to him. Futari, of course, is like such a good player. Like Futari is so good. I'm pretty sure he beat Mia, if I'm not mistaken, which is crazy. Yeah, he beat Mia with Ice Climbers. And I think Mia used Steve in one of those matches because I know he's been practicing the Steve as well. If my memory serves correct, there was a lot of very weird character choices in this tournament, and that was one of them. Futari is just like, he's an amazing player, brought up the Steve, and he managed to take it over Mia. That's a huge upset. That's probably his best winner. Actually, he might have beaten Proto before. I forget if Futari beat Proto or Abadongo at Kaguribi, but maybe it was both of them honestly. But huge shouts for Futari making it out to day 2 on the C3 as well, which is very very good. And then Mia getting C2 is like kind of surprising honestly because he did end up getting second at the tournament, so you'd think he would get out winner side or like seed 1 of his pool, but we had Kameme doing incredible, taking the set off Mia, taking sets off Osimo Futari. He beat everyone here. Like he is so good. Kameme is such an incredible player, and we saw the Mega Man this tournament. We'll get back to that later, but like, God, that made my heart happy. Next up, we have Pool C, where Hikaru and Umatsu make it out as seed 1 and 2, and then we have Tsubaki and Ket making it out as 3 and 4, and Higa-chan and Itorie being 5th and 6th. So Itorie, not a great tournament for him. I thought he was going to make it out on the winner side. He did take a set off Tsubaki, which is actually very good because Tsubaki had an incredible run. But it's just like when I look at Itorie, it's like he's such an amazing player, but I just feel like it'd be so much better on the PT. And it might just be because, like, you see him losing with the Wolf, you think the PT is going to be doing better. And honestly, that's probably what it is. But his PT is just so good. And he stuck out, at least to my knowledge, maybe I missed a set, basically every single set with the Wolf. He didn't try the PT once. He might have given up that character, which I don't know why, because that character is stupid dumb. But even though we had a rough tournament, I know he'll bounce back. He is an absolutely amazing player. And shoutouts to Higa-chan for taking a set which is either Wolf Ganon or PT Ganon, which would be way more impressive. But, like, Higa-chan is so good. I was so impressed with him because, like, I'm one of those players, or, like, just when I look at Ultimate, it's like, it's hard to impress me with a character with no sauce. Ganon has, in my opinion, the least sauce in the game because all he can do is just hit you with this big move. But Higa-chan was like, he was schmoving, his movement was insane, he was doing like these insane wizard kicks that he shouldn't be able to do. Like, he is so good. Like, Higa-chan is absolutely incredible. Very, very impressed by him. He had a great weekend, like a super big showing. And the best showing of the weekend, at least in my opinion, is Tsubaki. I think this is Tsubaki's first offline tournament, at least the first one to this extent. He did incredibly. He took sets off Kept, he took sets off Higa-chan, and he took games to Umatsu, Hikaru, Itorie, and he had like a crazy run in the final bracket that we will get to. But Tsubaki looked very, very good. Kept, as always, staying consistent within Japan. He's just such an amazing player. Getting a set off Itorie as well, that was one of the sets of the tournament. That set was incredible. And I don't know how he did that, like Wolf, Wolf Villager / Isabel. It seems really tough because Wolf has like a really good reflector, but also like bowling ball's kind of insane, which we saw a lot in that set. So huge shouts to Kept, he is absolutely incredible. And then Hikaru and Omatsu are just like, Omatsu I think had a very, very good bracket here. Like, this is one of the best ones he could have had, but everyone did put up a very good fight. And then Hikaru, he continues to surprise me. I feel like I'm just like super underrating him at this point because he is so good. That combination of Roy DK, especially the DK, is crazy. He beats Umatsu, he 3-0s Itorie, 3-0s Kept, 3-1s Tsubaki, and 3-1s Higa-chan. Like, Hikaru is absolutely unreal, and he had an incredible performance in the final bracket. The biggest upsets of this pool are, again, Tsubaki. I think he's seated here as the 5th, so that is pretty insane for him to get that 3rd spot. Like, Tsubaki, he has so much potential as a player. Up next is Pool D with probably the most upsets of the weekend. We had Masha as the 1st seed, Riziasu as 2nd, Masa as 3rd, Hiro as 4th, Alice as 5th, and Abadongo as 6th. So Abadongo as 6th I think will surprise a lot of people, and it surprised me at least. Like, I thought he was going to get out within the winner's side just because he is such an incredible player, but he does have some inconsistent tournaments sometimes, and this was one of them, unfortunately. He still got wins on Riziasu and Masa as well, who are both phenomenal players. So it's like, he didn't do that bad when you think about it. He just unfortunately got eliminated on that final day. Same thing with Alice, still got a win on Abadongo and Masa. Had a great tournament in my mind. He just didn't make it to the final day. But Masha, we have to talk about, because he didn't come out of nowhere, don't get me wrong. But I did not expect him to do this. He comes out with the 1st seed, beating Hiro, beating Abadongo 3-0, beating Masa 3-0, beating Alice 3-1, losing to Riziasu 3-2. Because, like, hey, Riziasu, he's crazy. But, like, Masha played so well. He plays Wolf, by the way, if you don't know. I feel like he was one of the lesser known players of this tournament, and he just did absolutely absolutely phenomenal. He should be super impressed with himself, just very, very happy about that. Did decent in the final bracket as well. And then we have Riziasu as that second seed. Again, he was seeded for second. Hito was seeded for first here, but beating Hito is really good. Beating Masha is really good. Beating Alice is really good. And then losing to Abadongo doesn't really hurt. Masa, same thing. Like, those are not bad losses at all. Masa is like one of the up and comers in Japan right now, even though he's been there for a while. It's just like he's starting to find that kind of drive where it's like, okay, he has figured something out because he got wins on Hito and Riziasu. Even though he did lose his other three sets, those two really helped him out a lot. And then we have Hito as the fourth seed. Even within the impossible matchups, he figures it out. He beats Abadongo 3-0. I don't know what matchup that was. I don't know if it was the Pikachu, the Palu, the Samus, the Meta Knight. They all seem terrible, but he managed to do it, as well as getting a win on Alice, which is very good. Like, Hito is... He is a different caliber of player. It's very, very interesting the way he plays the game. It is crazy. Like, Hito is... He's insane. I don't know what else to say. He's just such an amazing player. I hope we get to see more of him, especially within America. I think that travel could, traveling always will help you as a player, but we'll have to see if that's something he is interested in doing, and I hope we can see more in the 2023 year. Now that we're finally ready for the final bracket, I want to start off with Tsubaki's run because it was superb. He beat Asimo, Riziasu, and Masha before losing to Kameme. Kameme's Mega Man, by the way, which was, one, that set was really hype, but two, it was even more hype because we got to see the Kameme Mega Man, and people need to start playing Joker more so we can see Mega Man more. Like, because those characters are both just really, really cool, and that set was no exception. It was absolutely incredible. But something I want to point out about Tsubaki's run is that all of his games, at least in the final bracket, are Game 5, which shows his stamina as a player is just amazing. Like, as such a young player as well, someone that hasn't been to a lot of tournaments, he should not have that tournament stamina, but he does stamina. He does have it. He beats Asimo, he beats Riziasu, he beats Masha, all incredible players, and he still takes Kameme to Game 5. Like, he should be super happy. I'm pretty sure this is his first big tournament. Like, maybe he's been to a couple smaller ones, or at least, like, this is the first time he's performed this well offline, and he should be incredibly proud of himself. He looks so strong, and if I think we've seen him more in 2023, he could be, like, a super top player within Japan, probably even worldwide, honestly, if we start seeing travel out of him. Like, his gameplay was just incredible. His conversions were on point, and I still think he had, like, tournament nerves, like, a ton of them this season, or this tournament, rather, and I think, like, those will slowly go away, and he's just going to be such a threat. Like, Tsubaki, he should be on your radar for 2023, because he is unreal. Someone else who also had amazing runs are both Masa and Masha. Masha beating Futari in the final bracket, and Masa beating Omatsu and Ryu, who also, like, both these players, like, Masa just took out all the other people with amazing runs. Masa is, like, they're so good, Masa and Masha. I don't know why I'm grouping them together, probably just because they both play Spaceys. But they just, like incredibly strong instrument. I don't think a lot of people expect them to make it this far. I think maybe Masa, at least I had him this far, because, like, he's just unreal. But Masha, like, pleasantly surprised me this tournament. He looked absolutely unreal. His wolf was just so clean. Another person that we got to throw in the contention for best wolf in the world now. It's like there's too many of them at this point, but I guess add him to the list. Like, he is very, very good. Same thing with Masa, making that spot for him being the best Falco even closer. Again, maybe not there yet, but maybe I'm just like a Tilde lover. But Masa, he is just, he's phenomenal. He should be very happy with his run. Everyone at this tournament should be happy with the run, because there was not a single player here that did bad. Everyone showed a decent showing in a ton of sets. And someone else that showed a very, very decent showing was Mia, getting second place here. But it's not a Mia tournament if he doesn't make the craziest losers run of all time, because that's just how he does it. He doesn't want to play unless he has, like, some pressure on his back. I don't know. But once he gets to losers, he turns up. He beat Ken, Masa, Umeki, who's also been playing incredible as of late, Kameme, and Hikaru before losing to Aquila, his, like, basically only demon right now. At least it feels like it. Like, everyone else, Mia, like, it seems like he can beat, but Aquila has his number, but it's getting closer. But also, like, I feel like that happens a lot of times with Aquila. It's like, oh, this set was, like, really close, and then the next set he, like, 3-stocks you 4 times somehow. But, Mia is an amazing player. I don't know if he's quite top 10 this season, just because he had some pretty rough tournaments, like, midway through and at the start. But I think in the 2023 year, we'll definitely see him within that top 10. He's secured that number 2 spot in Japan, at least in my opinion, like, right now. Actually, no, number 3, because Shutone is crazy. But I think, like, contention for number 3 is, like, him, T, Proto, Zachary, because we know Zachary's good, even though he doesn't have the results for it. And then someone else I'm forgetting that I'll just throw in there. But Mia's incredible. He's been looking so good as of late. And again, another Japanese prodigy that's, like, they've been stepping up. They've been looking very, very strong. And Mia, he's unreal. He's the best Game Watch right now, for sure. I know, like, I still have my doubts. It's like Meister's still amazing, but no, it is Mia. He is unreal. And Hikaru as well. Sorry I started dying there for a second. But Hikaru is nutty. He beat Mia and Kameme before losing to Aquila and Mia in the run back. Got first in his pool. Like, Hikaru is like, he's making these dreamland runs, like these like fairy tale story ending runs. It seems like every other week with this DK Roy combination. And it's like, Hikaru's one of those players where it's like, okay, he can like he'll make the runs, but like he'll never win a major with DK. But then you look at the people he's beating. He's beating Mia, he's beating Kameme, he beat Gluto, he's beating people that you're gonna be fighting within the grand finals of a major, and he's already won a couple big regionals as well. Like it is within the scope of reality that we could have a Donkey Kong player win a major within the year of 2023, which is like. I don't know if it's scary. I don't know if it's cool. I don't know what it says about Ultimate or the future of this game, but oh my god, Hikaru is so good. Ameki as well, just like finding that stride that he had in early Ultimate again, which is always nice to see because he is just an absolutely phenomenal player. And we also had like not breakout runs, but just runs of consistency here. Like Rizzy also proving he's really good. Masha staying good, like kind of talked about him earlier. Omatsu, I feel like one of the unsung heroes of Japan who's incredible. Just like I feel like Proto kind of takes that spotlight with the Min, but Omatsu is crazy. Rizzy also I think played a bit. Also, Hikaru played Brawler this tournament, which is something to note. But yeah, this tournament was unreal. Everyone played out of their minds, even people that got 13th. Hito getting 13th. Honestly, losing to Ken is a little rough, just because like it's Sonic Bowser that kind of sucks. But he still had a great run. Like still getting. If you made it to the final bracket of the tournament, you had a good run. And honestly, just everyone at the tournament, I feel like looked very impressive. All the sets were like fairly competitive, at least for the most part. Like everyone had like a very good set, and I think everyone should be incredibly happy with themselves. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If there's any players that I didn't go over, please let me know down below. Sorry this video is like a little more scuffed. I'm still kind of sick. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a stream tomorrow. Probably not because I'm still hella coughing. But I'll hopefully still be making videos for this week. And then if I'm not coughing as much, then I'll probably do a stream at some point. We will be doing a stream within the next 2 weeks for that top 20 ranking. It's going to happen. I swear to God. Because I'm actually very excited for it. But yeah. Thank you guys for support. It's been absolutely unreal. Hope you all had a good holiday season, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.